Gravity Falls, Season 1, Episode 4, The Hand That Rocked the Mabel, which I have no idea why it has that title. Maybe I'm missing a reference somewhere, but from where I'm standing, that seems like a super random and weird episode title, so I am missing a reference somewhere. Please tell me. I'd like to know why it is that they chose that title for this episode. This episode revolves around a character called Gideon, and I guess it's his dad, who Stan kind of thinks of as his nemesis. Gideon is this kid who puts on shows where he fakes having psychic powers. He doesn't have the ability to read people's minds. He just dry reads people. And even though Stan forbids Dipper and Mabel from going to see this guy's show, they go see it anyway, obviously. And Dipper doesn't buy into any of it, but Mabel is really taken with this guy, just like everybody is, because I guess he's like super cute and charming, which we'll get to that in a minute. And likewise, he becomes enamored with Mabel, and they actually become friends, but he wants her to be more than just his friend, but she doesn't want to be. But he is so cute and charming in universe that people just kind of go along with whatever he says. Even his dad does it. And so between that and the fact that Mabel does consider him a friend and doesn't want to hurt him, she can't tell him that she doesn't want to date him, and they go on a couple of dates. It's really weird and really creepy, because this kid is really creepy. Until Dipper steps in, and then we find out he has a magic amulet. The kid has a magic amulet that gives him telekinetic powers, and Mabel has to step in and be the one to figure out how to beat him. And of the Gravity Falls episodes that I've seen so far, this is probably my least favorite. Not in that it was bad, just that I liked it slightly less than the other three. And I think part of that comes from the fact that they're setting up Gideon and his dad to be recurring villains, which is fine. They seem like they'd be fine recurring villains. But I really get the sense that we were supposed to be more impressed with them than I was. I was sitting there feeling kind of like Dipper. I didn't find this guy cute or charming at all. And hence I didn't buy into any of his crap. I didn't find him as cute as they were trying to make him seem, and I didn't find him, I think, as creepy as they were trying to make him seem by the end especially. So I ended up just kind of feeling meh about the character. I didn't really like him that much, and obviously I'm not supposed to like him in the same way that I like the mains, because he's not a hero. But he is a villain. He is a villain that they're setting up to be a recurring villain, so I should at least like him as a villain, and as of right now, I'm just kind of indifferent to him. Now, the episode did kind of set Gideon and his dad and their whole organization up as sort of an evil foil to the kid and to Stan and to the Mystery Shack. So when we get the big reveal at the end, and I'm not going to spoil for you, because if you haven't seen this episode, it's a huge spoiler. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. When we get that reveal, it does kind of solidify them as like an evil, bizarro version of the mains. And that's got me really excited, but I just hope that they do something more with this kid next time we see him than they did here. I mean, heck, for most of the episode, I couldn't even tell he was a kid. I thought he was just a really short, really weird adult, which I think speaks to a certain level of failure to portray this character the way they wanted to portray him. There's also the fact that this basically recycles the plot from the first episode, almost beat for beat. The villain comes in, has an interest in Mabel, and Mabel is the one who eventually figures out how to defeat them. I didn't mind that, though. That wasn't what turned me off of this episode in the little ways that I was turned off to this episode, because it was redressed so differently, and the focus was more on Mabel, and if you guys couldn't tell yet, Mabel is my favorite character in this show. So while at the end of the day I didn't like this episode as much as I did the previous three, I still did really enjoy it. The comedy was still there, the action was still there, the mystery was still there, and we got to see more of Mabel taking the lead. That was great. More of that, please. It's just that this is probably the first episode of the show that I felt like could have been better. There's also a minor subplot in there of Stan going to defend Mabel's honor from Gideon's dad, but then being seduced by the promise of the two of them being wed and their resources being pooled so that both families can make more money, and he succumbed to that, and that I didn't like at all. I really hope that Stan becomes a better person pretty darn soon, because while I find him funny, I don't like him in any other ways than that. I don't like his character hardly at all. But that's entirely beside the point. Enough fans love Stan that I'm sure he's going to change for the better at some point. All of that said, guys, what did you think of this episode? If you have seen it, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.
Check it out, Dipper!